Ancient builders moved stones that modern cranes cannot lift. These megalithic structures stand across the world, built with a precision that defies all known construction methods. We will explore 25 of these architectural enigmas that challenge our entire understanding of history and human capability. By the end, you will see these ancient sites not as ruins, but as complex puzzles with clues pointing to lost technologies. How did civilizations quarry 1,000-ton blocks and fit them together without a hairline gap? What does this say about the true timeline of human achievement? What forgotten secrets do you think these stones are still keeping? Deep within the Bekaa Valley, the foundation stones of Baalbek challenge everything we think we know about Roman capability. The Trilithon is not merely large, it is almost incomprehensibly massive. Each of the 3 limestone blocks weighs more than 800 tons. To put that into perspective, that is heavier than 2 fully loaded Boeing 747 airplanes. One of these stones stretches 64 feet long, standing 14 feet high and 12 feet wide. They were quarried from a site over a mile away and then lifted more than 20 feet to slot perfectly into a foundational platform. Roman engineers were masters of their craft, yet their own recorded methods of cranes and winches seem almost toy-like when faced with the Trilithon. The stones are fitted together so tightly that you cannot slide a piece of paper between them, and no mortar was used. This flawless joinery points to a technique that feels lost to history. While some suggest the use of sound waves or even anti-gravity to move such masses, conventional archaeology insists it was achieved through immense coordinated human labor. But the questions remain stubborn. How did they transport these behemoths across a mile of uneven terrain? What kind of wooden crane could possibly lift 800 tons without splintering into dust? The silence of these stones is as profound as their size, guarding secrets that Roman texts never recorded. And as we leave this Mediterranean mystery, another giant waits, shrouded in the dense green canopy of a South American jungle. High above the ancient city of Cusco, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman presents a puzzle carved in stone. Its walls are a breathtaking mosaic of colossal limestone blocks, some weighing well over 100 tons. These are not simple rectangles but complex polygonal shapes, each with dozens of interlocking angles. The joints between them are so impossibly tight that even a razor blade cannot find a gap. This is a feat of engineering that seems to defy the tools the Inca are said to have possessed. They built without the wheel, without iron tools, and without mortar. So how was this perfection achieved? One theory suggests they mastered a technique of heating the stone with fire and then rapidly cooling it with water, causing the surface to flake away for precise shaping. Others propose an advanced understanding of geometry and sound vibrations, allowing them to somehow soften the stone or fit the blocks with an almost liquid precision. The true genius of the design, however, may be in its resilience. These walls were built to move. For centuries, they have withstood powerful earthquakes that have leveled modern constructions all around them. The complex, interlocking joints allow the entire structure to shift and settle during a tremor, then lock perfectly back into place. This was not just stonework, it was a lost science of stability. Sacsayhuaman stands as a silent teacher, its lessons pointing toward a forgotten mastery of the earth itself. And this same quest for impossible perfection can be found halfway across the world, in the heart of a different desert. Yet even the architectural defiance of Sacsayhuaman pales before the sheer scale of a far older mystery. The Great Pyramid of Giza is a global icon, yet its most astonishing megalithic secrets are often hidden in plain sight. High within its core lies the king's chamber, a room sealed under millions of tons of stone. Its ceiling is supported by granite beams, each one a staggering 80 tons. To grasp that weight, envision a full diesel locomotive lifted into the very heart of the pyramid. These granite blocks were not sourced locally. They were quarried in Aswan, a distance of over 500 miles, and then somehow transported across the Nile and the desert. The final, most baffling step was hoisting them to a height of over 150 feet and sliding them into a perfect, precise position. The pyramid's exterior is a marvel, but this interior feat seems almost supernatural. The entire structure is aligned to true north with an accuracy within a fraction of a single degree, a precision that would challenge modern engineers with laser tools. The conventional explanation of long ramps and copper chisels begins to feel like a children's story when faced with these logistics. How could ramps, which would require more material than the pyramid itself, have been built inside the already completed structure to place those ceiling beams? How could soft copper cut through granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth? This has led to alternative ideas, from intricate waterlock systems that floated the stones into place, to theories of acoustic levitation using sound frequencies to reduce their weight. The pyramid stands as a silent, enduring monument that seems to encode a lost knowledge, a message from a civilization whose true capabilities we are only beginning to suspect. And if such knowledge existed here, then surely its echoes can be found elsewhere in Egypt's sands. Beneath the sands of Abydos, a different kind of Egyptian mystery lies completely hidden from the sun. The Osireion is an underground megalithic structure, a stark contrast to the ornate temple of Seti I built directly above it. Reached by descending into the earth, you are confronted by a forest of colossal red granite pillars, each one a single piece of stone weighing more than 100 tons. These immense blocks are fitted together with a perfection that makes the joints nearly invisible to the naked eye, a signature of a lost building art. The architecture itself is the greatest clue to its mystery. The style is Cyclopean, stark, and brutally simple, completely unlike the detailed hieroglyphics and refined carvings of the dynastic temple above. This has led many researchers to a startling conclusion. The Osireion is not a part of Seti's temple at all, but a relic from a much older, far more advanced civilization that the later Egyptians simply built upon. The logistics of its construction boggle the mind. How did workers maneuver these 100-ton blocks in a cramped, subterranean space, lowering them into perfect position with no room for the massive ramps or cranes we would need today? The structure is also perpetually flooded by groundwater, featuring channels and pools that suggest it was always intended to be partially submerged. Was this a technological feature, perhaps using water's buoyancy to assist in moving the stones? Or was it purely symbolic, a representation of the primordial waters of creation from Egyptian mythology? The Osireion stands as a profound enigma, a place where megalithic engineering meets sacred ritual, its true purpose submerged in time just as its foundations are submerged in water. And this connection between ancient stone and water is a thread that stretches far beyond the Egyptian desert, leading to a sunken city in another ocean entirely. Far from the deserts of Egypt, a different kind of mystery rests on the ocean floor. Off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island, a massive formation of sandstone lies 80 feet beneath the waves. This is the Yonaguni Monument, a sprawling complex of terraces, steps, and towering pillars that look unnervingly like an ancient, sunken city. The sheer scale is breathtaking, with the main structure rising nearly 100 feet from the seabed. The central debate is whether this is a stunning natural formation or the work of human hands. geologists point to the area's strong currents and seismic activity, which can fracture sandstone into surprisingly regular shapes. But the counter-argument is equally compelling. The monument features sharp 90-degree angles, perfect archways, and what appear to be carved staircases with steps of equal height and depth. One prominent feature even resembles a massive human face, a detail that feels too intentional to be random. If this was shaped by nature alone, it is a geological miracle of coincidental architecture. If it was shaped by people, then its construction had to occur when this land was above water, over 10,000 years ago during the last ice age. This single fact shatters conventional timelines. Mainstream history tells us that civilization, with organized agriculture and megalithic construction, began only around 5,000 years ago. Yonaguni suggests a society advanced enough to undertake monumental stonework thousands of years earlier, a society whose entire world was later consumed by the rising seas. The tools they would have used and the methods for carving and moving such immense stone underwater are completely unknown to us. This site is more than a puzzle. It is a ghost, a remnant of a world that vanished beneath the waves, challenging us to rewrite the very first chapters of our own story. The ocean's secrets do not end with the sunken terraces of Japan. In the crystal-clear, shallow waters off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas, a different kind of enigma stretches across the seafloor. This is the Bimini Road, a half-mile pathway of massive, rectangular limestone blocks, each one weighing several tons. Discovered in 1968, the formation instantly captured the world's imagination. The blocks are laid out in a distinct, deliberate J shape, a pattern that feels far too orderly to be a simple gift from nature. They are uniform in size and shape, fitted together in a continuous line that begs to be walked upon. To many, this was the long-sought proof, a tangible piece of the legendary lost city of Atlantis, finally emerging from the myths. The sheer organization of the site suggests a human hand, a purposeful construction. But this is where the mystery deepens into murky waters. How could anyone have quarried these multi-ton blocks and then placed them with such precision on the ocean floor? The conventional tools of ancient seafarers seem utterly inadequate for such an underwater task. Skeptics offer a compelling counter-argument, stating that the road is a perfect example of beach rock, a natural geological phenomenon where fragments of limestone cement together along a shoreline over centuries. They say the straight lines and right angles are a fantastic, but entirely random coincidence of fracture patterns. Yet the controversy only grows when we look at the dating. Some geological analyses suggest the blocks were formed in place over 12,000 years ago. If human builders were responsible, they would have been working at a time when sea levels were dramatically lower, when this road was on dry land. This single possibility challenges our entire timeline of advanced human activity in the Americas. The Bimini Road stands as a perfect symbol of the great debate surrounding these ancient sites. It sits on the frustrating, fascinating line between a natural wonder and a human masterpiece, forcing us to question our own ability to recognize intelligence in the stones of the distant past. When nature can create such perfect geometry, how can we ever be sure what we are seeing? This ambiguity fades away, however, when we encounter a structure whose artificial origins are beyond all doubt. Isolated in the vast Pacific Ocean, Easter Island stands as a testament to a different kind of megalithic obsession. Here, the silent Moai gaze inland, their colossal stone faces carved from compressed volcanic ash. The largest of these figures towers over 60 feet tall and weighs an almost unimaginable 80 tons, as much as a full-grown blue whale. The Rapa Nui people, with no wheels, no metal tools, and no large animals to assist them, somehow moved these giants up to 11 miles from the quarry where they were born. This feat of logistics on such a small, remote island is what transforms wonder into genuine mystery. How did they do it? The most compelling theory was born from a simple experiment. Researchers used ropes to rock a replica Moai from side to side, demonstrating that a small team could make the statue appear to walk forward. It is a powerful image, these stone giants waddling across the landscape. But the theory is not without its critics, who point out the immense risk of the statue tipping and shattering on the rocky ground, and question whether this method could have been used for the hundreds of Moai that were successfully erected. Other ideas suggest a more practical approach, using log sledges to drag the statues across specially prepared roads, yet this too presents a profound problem. Easter Island was once covered in a lush palm forest, but it was largely deforested by the time the statue building ceased. Did the Rapa Nui use every single tree on their island to move their gods, sacrificing their entire ecosystem for this monumental endeavor? Or was there another, more subtle technology at play, something we have not yet considered, perhaps a spiritual or acoustic technique that left no physical trace? The Moai are more than statues, they are a warning and a marvel. They represent a society that achieved the impossible, moving mountains of stone with seemingly nothing, yet may have paid the ultimate price in the process. Their silent presence asks us what we are willing to sacrifice for our own monuments, and what forgotten knowledge allowed them to walk. The silent giants of Easter Island stand in stark contrast to another mystery, one of perfect geometry hidden in the jungles of Central America. Deep within the river deltas of Costa Rica, workers clearing land in the 1930s uncovered something extraordinary, hundreds of stone spheres. But these were not ordinary rocks. They were near-perfect balls crafted from a hard, volcanic stone called gabbro. Over 300 of these spheres have been found, ranging from the size of a grapefruit to colossal orbs weighing 16 tons, as heavy as 2 full-grown elephants. They date back to around 600 AD, created by a pre-Columbian society that left no written records. The immediate question is how? How did ancient artisans, working without metal tools or the wheel, achieve such geometric perfection? The prevailing theory is one of immense patience and heat. They might have carefully selected a large boulder, then used fire to heat its surface before dousing it with cold water, causing the outer layer to crack and flake away. From there, they could have spent generations pecking at the stone with other, harder rocks, slowly grinding it down into a sphere. Yet, this explanation struggles to account for the stunning consistency. Many spheres, even those found miles apart, share an almost identical diameter and a surface smoothness that feels machined. This points to a standardized technique, a lost formula for perfection that was passed down and replicated with incredible accuracy. But the greater enigma is why they were made. Many of the spheres were discovered arranged in patterns, lines and triangles and circles, with some formations appearing to align with the solstices or other celestial events. This suggests they were far more than decorative objects. They could have been a sophisticated astronomical calendar, a stone computer for tracking the heavens. Others were found near burial sites and important buildings, hinting at a sacred or social status purpose. Their perfect shape itself might have held profound meaning, representing the sun, the moon, or the very concept of cosmic harmony. These silent, polished spheres are a different kind of megalithic puzzle. They are not about moving mountains, but about imposing perfect order upon them. They challenge our perception of ancient science, suggesting a deep understanding of mathematics and astronomy, encoded not in writing, but in flawless stone. This drive to capture cosmic patterns in rock is a thread that connects many ancient cultures, a universal language written in the alignment of stones and the movement of stars. The drive for geometric perfection found in Costa Rica's spheres echoes in a far more modern and personal story. In the humid heat of Florida, a single man performed a feat that seems to defy all logic. Edward Leedskalnin, a frail Latvian immigrant barely 5 feet tall and weighing 100 pounds, spent 28 years building what he called the Coral Castle. Working entirely alone and mostly under the cover of night, he single-handedly quarried, carved, and positioned over 1,000 tons of massive coral rock blocks. The largest of these stones, a towering obelisk, weighs 30 tons. He used no modern machinery, no diesel cranes, no hydraulic lifts. His tools found on site were primitive, little more than old car parts, chains, and simple metal tripods. How could one man, with the apparent strength of a child, move the equivalent of a dozen full-sized elephants? Leedskalnin himself offered only a cryptic clue, claiming he had rediscovered the building secrets of the ancient Egyptians, the very same secrets behind the pyramids. He spoke of understanding the laws of weight and leverage, and of harnessing the forces of magnetism. Witnesses reported seeing him work, but they never saw how he moved the stones, only that the blocks seemed to glide into place as if they were weightless. This has fueled theories that stretch the limits of our imagination. Did he discover a way to reverse polarity, making the massive stones repel the Earth? Or did he somehow use acoustic levitation, a lost science of using sound to cancel out gravity? The precision of his work adds another layer to the mystery. The stone door to his workshop, a slab weighing 9 tons, was so perfectly balanced that a child could push it open with a single finger. Yet it was so precisely fitted that it was impossible to see through the cracks, and it took a team of engineers with a 20-ton crane to remove it after his death. The entire complex is also aligned with celestial bodies, with specific features pointing to the North Star and other astronomical markers. Edward Leedskalnin took his secret to the grave, leaving behind a monument that is both a marvel and a taunt. The Coral Castle is a modern megalith, a bridge between the ancient world's grandest puzzles and the possibility that a lone individual with a forgotten key to physics could achieve the impossible. This idea of a single, transformative secret connects directly to a legend from the other side of the world, one carved into a mountain of solid rock. While Edward Leedskalnin worked in secret, the stones of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey have been hiding in plain sight for 12,000 years. This sprawling complex of carved pillars rewrites the first chapter of human history, a chapter we thought we knew. Its circular enclosures, built around 9,600 BCE, predate Stonehenge by over 6,000 years, and they completely shatter the conventional timeline of civilization. According to everything we have been taught, the people of this era were simple hunter-gatherers, nomadic bands focused solely on survival. They were not supposed to be capable of this. The site is defined by massive, T-shaped limestone pillars, some standing 16 feet tall and weighing 20 tons. Each one was quarried from the local bedrock, dragged to the hilltop, and set into precisely carved sockets in the ground. The logistics alone would have required a large, organized, and coordinated workforce, hundreds of people all working toward a single, monumental goal. This implies a social structure, a hierarchy, and a food surplus that we never attributed to people of this ancient era. But the mystery only deepens when you look closer. The pillars are not blank monoliths, they are a stone canvas. They are covered in intricate, finely carved reliefs of animals, foxes, scorpions, vultures, and lions, all rendered with a sophisticated artistic skill. This was not crude graffiti, it was a symbolic language carved into 20-ton blocks. How did they achieve such precision without metal tools? The conventional answer is that they used simple flint chisels, but the sheer scale and detail of the work suggests a level of patience and artistry that defies belief. Then, around 8000 BC, the entire site was deliberately and carefully buried under tons of earth, as if to preserve it for a future it knew was coming. Why would a society invest generations of labor into a sacred center, only to consign it to a man-made tomb? Was it to protect the knowledge encoded in its stones from a changing world? Göbekli Tepe stands as a profound challenge, not just to our understanding of how these stones were moved, but to our entire story of human progress. It suggests that the drive to build, to create meaning in stone, and to align with cosmic forces is far older and more deeply rooted in our species than we ever dreamed. The sheer ambition of Göbekli Tepe finds a strange echo thousands of years later on the windswept coast of Brittany. Here, the Karnak stones stand not as a buried temple, but as an open-air enigma of staggering scale. More than 3,000 individual megaliths march across the landscape in near-perfect parallel lines, some rows stretching for over 2 miles. These are not randomly placed boulders. This is a vast, deliberate composition of granite, a project that would have demanded the labor and coordination of an entire society. Many of these stones weigh several tons, and they were all quarried from sites miles away and erected around 4500 BC. The logistics are baffling. How did a prehistoric community without draft animals or the wheel orchestrate the movement of so many heavy stones across such distances, and then position them with such geometric precision? The most compelling mystery, however, is not how they did it, but why. Walking among these silent, orderly rows, you feel a profound sense of intention. Were these lines a colossal astronomical computer, their alignments marking the solstices and equinoxes with a precision we can still measure today? Or were they a sacred pathway, a ritual landscape for communicating with gods or ancestors? Perhaps they served as territorial markers for a complex society, a statement of power carved into the very earth. The sheer number of stones suggests a purpose that was both deeply important and communal, a project that united generations. The Karnak stones do not boast of kings or gods in carvings. They speak a quieter, more insistent language of pattern and alignment. They force us to confront the mind that could conceive of such a grand design, a mind that saw order in the cosmos and felt compelled to replicate it on an epic scale here on the ground. This ancient drive to create massive linear patterns in stone is not unique to France, and it leads us to another continent, where a different set of lines tells an even more mysterious story. The ambition of Karnak finds its equal in the green hills of England. The Avebury stone circle is a monument of almost overwhelming scale, a colossal enclosure that dwarfs its more famous neighbor, Stonehenge. Built around 2600 BC, this is not a simple ring of stones. It is a vast landscape project. A massive circular bank and ditch over a mile in circumference surrounds a complex of circles made from towering sarsen stones. Some of these monoliths weigh over 40 tons, and they were dragged to this site from quarries many miles away. Imagine the sheer communal will required to move dozens of these giants across the countryside, and then stand them upright in a precise, circular pattern, all without the wheel, without metal, and without any written plan to guide them. The engineering is staggering, but the mystery is even more profound. Avebury was not built in an empty space. It was constructed to encompass a part of the existing landscape, including a small village that remains there to this day. This was not a temple set apart from daily life. It was a structure that integrated the sacred and the mundane, a place where rituals and community were woven together. The purpose of these stones is believed to be deeply spiritual, likely tied to the cycles of the sun and moon, with specific stones aligning to celestial events like the solstices. Yet the exact meaning of its complex geometry is lost to us. How did they achieve such accuracy over such a vast area? The methods are purely speculative, ranging from the use of giant wicker baskets filled with stones as counterweights to complex systems of ropes and levers powered by hundreds of people. Avebury's true power lies in its silent testimony to Neolithic ambition. It connects directly to the mystery of Stonehenge, built in the same era and from the same type of stone, suggesting a shared, sophisticated culture with a deep understanding of astronomy, geometry, and social organization. These builders were not primitive, they were visionaries who reshaped their entire world to reflect a cosmic order, leaving behind a puzzle whose pieces we are still struggling to fit together. Even the sprawling ambition of Avebury leads to the singular, iconic mystery of Stonehenge. We all know its silhouette, but the true scale of its construction remains hidden. The smaller bluestones, each weighing up to 4 tons, tell a story of near-impossible logistics. They were not local. Their geological fingerprint points to the Preseli Hills in Wales, a staggering distance of over 150 miles away. Think of that journey traversing mountains, rivers, and dense forests with multi-ton blocks of stone. Then consider the larger sarsen stones, the ones that form the famous Trilithon arches. These are true giants, some weighing up to 50 tons, as heavy as a military tank. They were dragged from quarries 20 miles to the north. How did Bronze Age people without wheels or metal tools accomplish this? The conventional theories feel almost too simple. Did they use wooden sledges greased with animal fat and pulled by hundreds of people over log rollers? Could they have partially floated the bluestones on rafts along the coast and up rivers? Each idea presents its own immense difficulties, from the constant breaking of rollers under such weight to the sheer coordination of a labor force spanning generations. Yet, the mystery only deepens once the stones arrived on site. The architecture reveals a sophistication that goes far beyond brute force. The massive lintel stones that cap the uprights are not just perched on top, they are locked in place with a complex system of joinery. Tongues were carved on the top of the uprights that fit perfectly into grooves carved into the underside of the lintels, a woodworking technique executed on a colossal stone scale. This was not just stacking rocks, this was precision engineering designed for permanence. And then there are the celestial alignments. The entire structure is a grand astronomical clock. At the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over the heel stone, casting its rays into the heart of the circle. This alignment is not a rough approximation. It is precise, requiring generations of observation and a deep, encoded knowledge of the cosmos. Stonehenge stands as the pinnacle of megalithic engineering in Europe, a testament to a culture that could move mountains and capture the movement of the sun in a ring of stone. This drive to build with such celestial precision was not confined to one continent, however. It echoes powerfully in a forgotten city high in the Andes. The drive to build with celestial precision found at Stonehenge resonates just as powerfully in the sun-scorched landscapes of southern Spain. Here, the dolmens of Antequera stand as 3 colossal stone tombs constructed around 3,800 BCE. These are not simple stone piles, they are architectural marvels, with the largest, the Menga Dolmen, featuring a single capstone that weighs over 180 tons. To move such a slab, quarried from a mountain 2 miles away, would have been a monumental undertaking for any era. The conventional explanation of log rollers and wooden levers feels almost insufficient, a sketch of an answer for a problem of immense physical scale. Coordinating hundreds of people to drag this behemoth across uneven terrain, inch by grueling inch, would have required a level of social organization and shared purpose that we rarely attribute to Neolithic communities. But the true genius of Antequera may not be in the how, but in the where. The builders did not choose these sites at random. The central chamber of the Dolmen is perfectly aligned with a distant, singular mountain known as La Peña de los Enamorados, a natural landmark that strikingly resembles a sleeping giant's face. This was not just construction, it was a form of sacred geography, weaving their man-made monuments into the very fabric of the land they held holy. They saw the mountain as a living entity and oriented their tomb to commune with it for eternity. This society left behind no written records, no king lists or inventories to tell us their names or beliefs. All we have are their stones, a silent testament to a universal human drive, a need to create something that would outlast them, to mark their place in the world and the cosmos. This same profound impulse to build enduring monuments from impossible stones echoes across the globe, with its own unique signature in the highlands of a different continent. But the idea of a forgotten global culture finds its most explosive evidence not in Europe, but in the highlands of Indonesia. Gunung Padang is not a simple hill. It is a terraced mountain of mystery, a colossal structure built with layers of stone that may rewrite time itself. The entire hill is man-made, an artificial pyramid cloaked in earth and grass. The visible surface is a complex arrangement of massive columnar basalt blocks, each one weighing several tons. These stones are not piled randomly. They are fitted together with clear intention, forming walls, terraces, and enclosed chambers. Their geometric precision is undeniable, a signature of sophisticated engineering. Yet, the true shock lies beneath the surface. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed that this is not a single layer of construction. It is a multi-tiered cake of ancient building with multiple chambers and hollow spaces hidden deep inside the hill. The most controversial data comes from core drilling. Soil samples taken from deep within the structure have been dated, and the results are staggering. They suggest the deepest layers of Gunung Padang could be more than 20,000 years old. If this dating is accurate, it would make this site the oldest pyramid-like structure in the world by an immense margin, predating the Egyptian pyramids by more than 15 millennia. This single fact shatters the conventional timeline of human civilization. How could a society advanced enough for complex megalithic construction have existed during the last ice age, a time when we are told humans were simple hunter-gatherers? The construction methods are a complete enigma. How did they quarry and shape this hard basalt? How did they move these multi-ton columns and stack them into a mountain? The site's sheer sophistication implies a lost culture with knowledge we can scarcely comprehend. Gunung Padang stands as a silent, monumental challenge, forcing us to ask if the story of our past is not just incomplete but fundamentally wrong. This Indonesian marvel pushes our search for ancient genius further east, to a land of emperors and a forgotten city of stone. Scattered across the highlands of Laos, thousands of giant stone jars lie broken and weathered. This is the Plain of Jars, a megalithic landscape as enigmatic as it is vast. These are not small containers. Some of these carved sandstone jars stand over 9 feet tall and weigh several tons each, as heavy as a full-grown elephant. They date back to the Iron Age, over 2,000 years ago, yet their true purpose remains one of Southeast Asia's greatest archaeological puzzles. The most prominent theory suggests they were used for burial practices, perhaps as sarcophagi to hold human remains or as vessels for decomposing bodies before secondary burial. Another idea posits they were massive fermentation vats for food or rice wine, used in communal ceremonies, but the mystery is not just why they were made, but how. The sandstone was quarried from mountains several miles away. How did these ancient people transport multi-ton blocks of stone across such rugged terrain without wheels or draft animals? The carving itself presents an even deeper puzzle. The jars exhibit a remarkable symmetry and smooth finish, with some even featuring carved rims and decorative flourishes. Yet, evidence suggests the society that created them did not possess metal tools. How do you carve a perfect circular jar weighing tons from solid rock using only stone hammers and chisels? The precision required to hollow out these massive vessels so uniformly seems to defy the tools of the era. This unique megalithic tradition stands apart from the pyramids and temples we have seen, a testament to the incredible diversity of ancient engineering solutions. It shows us that the drive to shape the world with massive stone was a universal human impulse, even for a culture that left behind no written records to explain their grand, jar-scattered landscape. This journey across mainland Asia's stone mysteries now pushes us out to sea, toward a tiny island holding a secret far older than anyone expected. The silence of Laos's stone jars gives way to the rhythmic sound of the Pacific Ocean, lapping against the foundations of a city that should not exist. On the remote island of Pohnpei, the ruins of Nan Madol rise from a shallow lagoon, a ghostly metropolis built not on solid land, but atop nearly 100 artificial islets. These tiny islands are not made of earth and rubble. They are painstakingly constructed from colossal basalt logs. Each of these prismatic columns, quarried from the island's volcanic core, weighs up to 50 tons, and they are stacked crosswise like a child's wooden toy set, but on a scale that defies all reason. The entire aquatic city is a labyrinth of canals and crumbling walls, a Venice built by giants. The foundational mystery is one of sheer logistics. The basalt was sourced from the opposite side of the island, meaning these multi-ton logs had to be transported miles overland and then across open water. How do you move a 50-ton stone log through a dense jungle and then float it to a precise location in a lagoon? The builders left no written records, no carvings of their kings, no inventory lists of their workforce. They left only the stones, and they are silent. The scale of the project screams of a powerful, centralized authority, a society with the engineering knowledge and organizational skill to command a labor force for generations. But the local legends whisper of a different story. They tell of two brother magicians, Olasipa and Olasopa, who used a powerful magic to levitate the massive logs through the air, making them light as feathers and guiding them into place with a chant. This is more than just a myth. It is a cultural memory of a construction technique so advanced it was indistinguishable from sorcery. Was it a form of acoustic levitation, a lost science of manipulating gravity with sound frequencies? Or did they master a more practical yet equally brilliant method of buoyancy, perhaps lashing the stones to outrigger canoes to create massive rafts? Nan Madol stands as a breathtaking example of a water-based megalithic site, a perfect companion to the sunken structures of Yonaguni and the coastal mystery of the Bimini Road. It forces us to expand our definition of ancient engineering, to consider that the greatest builders may have been as comfortable on the water as they were on the land, their secrets now submerged not in the ocean but in the mists of time. High in the Bolivian Andes, the air is thin and the past feels unnervingly close. Here stands the Gate of the Sun, a monumental archway carved from a single 10-ton block of andesite. This is not a gate built from many pieces, but a single, breathtaking sculpture hewn from one unyielding stone. Andesite is an exceptionally hard volcanic rock, a material that would quickly dull modern steel chisels. Yet the surface of this gate is covered in intricate, deep-cut iconography, featuring a central figure often called the Staff God, surrounded by a procession of winged attendants and complex geometric patterns. The sheer precision of these carvings suggests the artisans were working with tools far beyond simple stone hammers. How did they achieve such crisp, clean lines and deep relief in a rock this stubborn without any metal tools? The mystery only deepens when we consider the journey of the stone itself. It was quarried from a site over 50 miles away, across a rugged landscape of mountains and the vast Lake Titicaca. Transporting a 10-ton block of stone is one thing, but moving it such a great distance at an altitude of over 12,000 feet, where the oxygen is thin and every physical task is magnified in difficulty, seems almost superhuman. The conventional answers of log rollers and rope teams feel desperately inadequate, but the Gate of the Sun is more than a feat of engineering. It is a frozen piece of ancient science. The entire structure is believed to be a sophisticated astronomical calendar. The intricate carvings are not merely decorative, they are a complex code with features that align with the solstices and the cycles of the sun. This implies the Tiwanaku people possessed a profound understanding of celestial mechanics, embedding their knowledge directly into the stone for generations to study. This was a civilization that flourished for centuries, a major pre-Columbian power, yet its decline around 1000 AD is as abrupt as it is unexplained. When the city was abandoned, the secrets of its construction and the meaning of its symbols were lost with its people. The gate now stands as a silent, solitary sentinel, its message clear in its imagery but utterly mute in its method. It pushes our search for answers to another nearby marvel, one that presents an even more baffling puzzle of stone fitting. Just a short distance from the Gate of the Sun lies the true heart of the Tiwanaku mystery, a place that shatters all conventional understanding of ancient construction. Puma Punku is not a building, it is a field of shattered dreams and impossible geometry. The ground is littered with the remnants of what was once a grand complex, but it is the individual stones themselves that defy all logic. Scattered across the site are H-shaped blocks carved from diorite and andesite, two of the hardest stones on the planet. Some of these blocks weigh over 100 tons, yet they were cut with a precision that seems to belong to the modern industrial age. The surfaces of these stones are not just flat, they are perfectly planar, smoothed to within a fraction of a millimeter over their entire length. This is a level of flatness you would expect from a precision ground machine part, not a rock carved with a stone hammer. The edges are sharp and crisp, forming perfect 90-degree angles without any chipping or visible tool marks, but the true genius is in the joinery. These massive blocks were designed to interlock with each other using a complex system of tabs, notches, and recessed channels, fitting together like pieces of an immense three-dimensional stone puzzle. The concept is similar to sophisticated metalworking, where components are pre-fabricated to snap together with absolute precision, yet here it is executed on a gargantuan scale with incredibly hard rock. The conventional explanation that workers pounded these stones into shape with other, harder rocks feels absurd when you look at the evidence. Diorite is significantly harder than steel. To shape it with primitive tools would be a process of unimaginable slowness and effort, and it could never account for the flawless, machined surfaces and complex geometric cuts we see. How do you create millimeter-perfect flatness across a 100-ton block using only stone and copper tools? It seems utterly impossible. This has led to the compelling and controversial theory that the builders of Puma Punku possessed a form of advanced technology that has since been lost to history. Perhaps they had access to diamond-tipped tools or some form of powerful machinery that could slice through stone as easily as a laser cuts through plastic. The precision is so advanced that it even includes perfectly drilled boreholes and symmetrical countersunk depressions that look like they were made by a modern drill press. The entire site looks less like a ruin and more like a factory floor where stone components were mass-produced. If the conventional timeline is correct, then Puma Punku stands as a profound anomaly, a ghost of a technology that should not have existed for thousands of years. It forces us to ask if our timeline of human development is not just incomplete, but missing entire chapters of innovation and collapse. The silent, shattered stones of Puma Punku are not just a mystery, they are a direct challenge, daring us to explain how such perfection was achieved with nothing but simple tools and brute force. The sheer perfection of Puma Punku seems almost sterile compared to the raw, mountainous power of Ollantaytambo. Perched high in the Peruvian Andes, this Inca fortress presents a different kind of mystery, one not of machine-like precision but of overwhelming logistics. Its most famous walls are constructed from massive blocks of pink porphyry, a stone as beautiful as it is stubbornly hard. Some of these blocks weigh 50 tons, and their origin is the real beginning of the puzzle. They were not sourced from the valley floor. The quarry was on a mountainside directly opposite the fortress, high on the other side of the valley. This means the builders had to achieve the impossible. First, they had to detach these 50-ton giants from the mountain. Then, they had to maneuver them down a steep, treacherous slope. After that, they faced the formidable Yorubamba River, which roared between the quarry and the construction site. Finally, they had to drag these behemoths up the steep incline to their current position and lift them into a perfect, interlocking wall. Just one of these steps would be a monumental challenge for modern engineers with heavy machinery. The Inca accomplished it all without the wheel, without draft animals, and without iron tools. How did they move these stones across the river? Did they build a temporary dam to divert the water, or did they somehow float them across on reed boats? The journey itself seems to defy the very laws of physics as we understand them applied to that era. Once the stones arrived, the work was not over. The fitting of the blocks reveals a sophisticated masonry technique that is a signature of Inca engineering. The joints are, as always, impossibly tight with no mortar used, but look closer and you will see something fascinating. Many of the largest blocks feature strange, unexplained bumps or protrusions. These are not decorative. The leading theory is that these were handles, points where ropes could be secured to provide leverage for lifting and positioning the stones with incredible control. After the block was perfectly set, these protrusions were often chiseled away, leaving only a smooth, seamless surface. This implies a deep, practical understanding of physics and a carefully planned construction process. Ollantaytambo is more than a fortress. It is a masterclass in adapting to an impossible environment. It shows a civilization that did not simply conquer a mountain landscape, but learned to speak its language, using the terrain itself as a tool in their construction. This harmonious relationship with the Andes leads us to another mountain sanctuary, one where the stones themselves seem to breathe. The same stonework genius that built Sacsayhuaman flows through the very streets of Cusco itself. Wandering the old city, you are surrounded by walls that feel both ancient and impossibly alive. These are not simple foundations, they are complex tapestries woven from giant stone blocks, each one a unique polygonal shape with dozens of interlocking angles and curves. Just like their larger counterparts on the hilltop, these stones, some weighing many tons, are fitted together without a speck of mortar. The joints are so impossibly tight that they have survived centuries of powerful earthquakes that have repeatedly shattered the Spanish colonial buildings constructed right on top of them. The Spanish, finding these walls indestructible, simply used them as foundations, a constant, humbling reminder of the superior engineering they could not replicate. How was such perfection achieved with only stone hammers and bronze tools? One fascinating theory suggests the Inca possessed a forgotten botanical knowledge. They may have used a sap from local plants, a natural acid that could temporarily soften the surface of the stone, allowing artisans to mold and fit the blocks with a precision that appears almost liquid. Once the sap's effect wore off, the stone would harden back to its original, diamond-like strength, locking the blocks in a permanent, seamless embrace. This theory could explain the uncanny, plastic-like fits that seem to defy the nature of hard rock. But what is truly staggering is the consistency. This same advanced building style is found in important structures across the entire Inca Empire, from remote mountain outposts to the heart of their sacred city. This was not a unique technique reserved for kings. It was a standardized, codified building method, a lost architectural language that every Inca master mason understood. This widespread perfection suggests a centralized knowledge, a sophisticated building code that has since vanished from human memory. The silent, enduring walls of Cusco are a testament to a culture that did not just build with stone, but perfected its very nature, leaving behind a mystery that stands on every corner. This remarkable consistency across a vast empire makes you wonder, could this advanced knowledge have been even more widespread, perhaps even global, in a forgotten age? This same mastery of stone and balance appears in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, on the sun-drenched island of Minorca. Here, the tallers rise from the dry earth, ancient T-shaped stone giants that stand in stark, silent isolation. Each one is a feat of improbable balance, a massive horizontal capstone perched perfectly atop a single vertical pillar. The largest of these, at the site of Telote de Dalt, lifts a capstone weighing over 10 tons, more than 12 feet into the air. These structures were built around 1000 BC by a Talaiotic culture with no written language and limited resources, a society confined to a small island. The why of the tallers is a subject of debate, with theories pointing to a religious or astronomical purpose, perhaps as a sacred enclosure for rituals. But the how is the true engineering puzzle. How did a prehistoric island community, without advanced machinery or even a large population to draw from, manage to raise a multi-ton stone slab and set it with such delicate precision on top of another standing stone? The method is completely lost to us. The most logical theory involves the construction of an earthen ramp, painstakingly building a slope of soil and rubble up one side of the already erected pillar. The capstone would then be dragged up this ramp and carefully nudged into its final position, after which the ramp was dismantled. Yet, even this simple explanation requires a profound understanding of weight distribution and center of gravity. One slight miscalculation during that final, precarious push, and the entire structure would have collapsed into a pile of shattered rock. The tallers have not collapsed. They have stood for 3,000 years, a testament to an island society that possessed not just brute strength, but a deep, intuitive knowledge of physics. They connect the megalithic mysteries of the mainland to the ingenuity of isolated cultures, proving that the drive to build the impossible was not confined to vast empires, but could flourish even on a small island with nothing but stone, determination, and a forgotten secret of balance. The silent endurance of the tallers finds a powerful echo on the small Mediterranean islands of Malta, where stones of a different kind whisper of an even older devotion. The temples of Giwith dot above Gantaja rise from the island of Gozo, their very name meaning Giantess's Tower, a nod to local legend that speaks of a giant woman who built them while carrying her child. These are not just old ruins, they are staggering achievements of the Neolithic world, constructed around 3600 BCE. That makes them older than Stonehenge, older than the Great Pyramid of Giza, ranking among the very oldest free-standing structures ever discovered on Earth. The scale is immense, built with massive blocks of coralline limestone, some weighing 50 tons, To stand before these walls is to feel a profound sense of time and an even deeper sense of mystery. The society that built them left absolutely nothing behind. No written records, no carvings of their kings, no inventories of their tools. They are a complete enigma, defined solely by the breathtaking ambition of their architecture. The conventional explanation of log rollers, levers, and vast human effort seems almost too simple when you examine the craftsmanship. The temples are not simple rectangles. They are complex, cloverleaf-shaped structures with gracefully curved walls and intricately carved altars. The precision of these curves, achieved with stone tools, is remarkable. How did they shape these multi-ton blocks into such smooth, organic forms, fitting them together to create spacious, ceremonial chambers that have survived for over 5,000 years? The architecture itself speaks of a deep, sophisticated spiritual tradition. Inside, you find altars, oracle holes, and libation channels, all carved directly from the stone, suggesting rituals that were central to their culture. This level of specialized, monumental construction implies a stable, organized society with a powerful priestly class, a society that had moved far beyond mere survival. The haunting question is whether this genius was born in isolation on these tiny islands, or if it was part of a wider, forgotten cultural current. The temple's unique form and advanced astronomy have prompted some to look for connections across the Mediterranean, wondering if the seafaring peoples of prehistory shared a common, lost knowledge of stone and stars, a knowledge whose last echoes are preserved in these silent, sun-baked ruins. On the remote Isle of Lewis in Scotland, the Callanish stones rise from the peat like a petrified forest. Arranged in a complex cross-shaped pattern, these ancient monoliths create a landscape of profound silence and celestial intention. The tallest stone towers over 15 feet, a slender spear of Lewisian gneiss weighing several tons, a silent witness to 5,000 years of history. Unlike the single circle designs of many other sites, the layout here is a distinct cross with a central stone circle and a long avenue running north, a design that feels both deliberate and deeply symbolic. The immediate question is why this specific, windswept location was chosen, and the answer appears written in the sky itself. The stones are not merely decorative, they are a sophisticated lunar observatory. Their alignments precisely mark the extreme rising and setting points of the moon during its complex 18.6-year cycle, a cycle known as the lunar standstill. This is not simple sun watching. This is an advanced, long-term understanding of celestial mechanics, requiring generations of patient observation to decode. How did a Neolithic farming community achieve this profound astronomical insight, and why was it so important to them that they immortalized it in stone? The transportation of these massive blocks from local quarries would have been a Herculean task of coordination, dragging each multi-ton slab across the rugged terrain to this precise, sacred ground. Yet, the how of their movement is overshadowed by the why of their placement. Callanish forces us to see these megalithic sites not just as engineering puzzles, but as libraries of cosmic knowledge. They are permanent records of a universal human quest to understand our place in the cosmos, a theme that echoes from the highlands of Scotland to the plains of Cambodia, connecting every culture that ever looked to the stars and felt compelled to build an answer on the earth. Across the Irish Sea, an ancient mound holds a secret of light and stone. Newgrange is a prehistoric passage tomb, a structure so advanced it was built 500 years before the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its most striking feature is a massive, intricately carved curbstone that guards the entrance, a single block weighing more than 5 tons. But the true genius of Newgrange is not in its weight, but in its alignment. The entire structure was engineered as a celestial timepiece, a slender roof box, a special opening above the entrance, was designed with a purpose that seems almost magical. For just a few minutes at dawn on the winter solstice, as the sun crests the horizon, a narrow beam of sunlight pierces through this opening. It travels down the 60-foot-long passage, creeping silently through the darkness until it illuminates the sacred inner chamber at the very heart of the tomb. This annual event was not a happy accident. It was a deliberate, breathtaking feat of astronomical engineering, achieved by a Neolithic farming community over 5,000 years ago. How did they calculate the precise angle needed to capture that single ray of sun on the shortest day of the year? The construction itself is a marvel of megalithic logistics. The white quartzite stones that glitter on its facade and the granite boulders used throughout were not local. They were gathered from sources many miles away, a monumental effort of transportation across the Irish landscape. And inside, the corbelled roof demonstrates a profound understanding of physics. The stones were stacked in overlapping courses, each layer cantilevering slightly inward until the space was sealed at the top, creating a stable, waterproof vault that has stood intact for millennia. Newgrange represents the absolute peak of Neolithic tomb construction, a place where architecture, astronomy, and spirituality converge. It forces us to ask a deeper question about all these megalithic wonders. Were these colossal efforts merely about burial and ritual, or were they a profound attempt by ancient humanity to build bridges to the cosmos itself, to anchor their world to the eternal cycles of the sun and stars? The sheer consistency of these structures across the globe is perhaps the most compelling mystery of all. From the Andes to the Pacific, from the Mediterranean to the Far East, we see the same impossible signatures, the same uncanny precision in stone. This pattern forces us to confront a radical idea, the lost technologies hypothesis. Could these ancient builders have possessed a sophisticated knowledge of physics and engineering that was later wiped from human memory? Mainstream archaeology provides one answer, attributing these wonders to immense human labor, simple tools, and generations of patient work. And this is a powerful testament to human ingenuity. Yet the nagging details, the machined surfaces of Puma Punku, the interlocking earthquake-proof walls of Cusco, the celestial alignments of Newgrange, all suggest something more. The theory proposes that a shared, advanced science might have once existed, a common blueprint understood by cultures we believe were separated by vast oceans and millennia. This knowledge could have included techniques for softening stone with plant-based acids, or using the resonant frequency of sound to make massive blocks temporarily weightless, a principle known as acoustic levitation. Perhaps they understood the geometric secrets of the Earth itself, using unseen energy lines to guide their construction. This idea naturally leads to a profound and unsettling question. If such a global, advanced culture did exist, what happened to it? The hypothesis often points to cataclysmic events, a great flood, a comet impact, or a rapid pole shift, events preserved in the myths of nearly every ancient culture. Such a global catastrophe could have reset civilization, obliterating the advanced society and leaving only its most durable creations, these megalithic puzzles, as silent witnesses. This is not just about rewriting history, it is about redefining human potential. It suggests that our linear view of progress, from primitive to advanced, might be an illusion, and that the peak of human achievement could lie not in our future, but in our deep and forgotten past. The stones do not simply ask how they were built, they ask us to consider who we really are and what we are truly capable of. From the 800-ton giants of Baalbek to the sunken terraces of Yonaguni, these 25 megaliths form a global tapestry of unsolved mysteries. They are not merely ruins, but profound questions carved in stone, each one challenging the very foundations of our historical narrative. These sites collectively push us to reconsider what ancient societies were truly capable of, forcing us to look beyond the conventional explanations of ramps and ropes. Could they have harnessed lost technologies, perhaps a forgotten science of sound or energy that made stone temporarily weightless? Or were they masters of social organization, achieving through generations of unified effort what we can scarcely manage with our modern machinery? The evidence laid before us suggests a third, more humbling possibility, that these builders operated with a deep understanding of natural laws we are only beginning to rediscover. Their legacy is a powerful lesson in resilience and innovation, demonstrating that human potential can reach heights we have since forgotten. These stones ask us to be humble, to question the timeline we have been taught, and to remain open to the whispers of a past far more complex than we ever imagined. If these architectural enigmas have sparked your curiosity, be sure to subscribe for more deep explorations into the world's greatest historical puzzles. Let us know in the comments which of these ancient sites puzzles you the most. Keep exploring and never stop questioning the stories written in stone.